Hello class. So have you been through the video regarding the harmful effects of microorganisms? So you might have seen that how harmful these microorganisms are, right? So being a responsible person, you people have to follow the preventive measures before the pathogens or viruses or bacteria they enter your body. So I hope you'll promise this, that you will take the preventive measures to avoid these diseases. Okay? Yes. So students, today in this class we are going to study that what are different chemical methods used to prevent those microorganisms or prevent the growth of microorganisms. Okay, how the growth of microorganisms can be slowed down. So these chemical methods or some preservatives. Okay, so these we will study in this class. Okay, yes. So just let's begin with the class, that is microorganisms, friend and foe. Okay, so chemical methods. Okay, so salts and edible oils, they are the common chemicals which are generally used to check the growth of microorganisms. Okay, for example, your mom or your granny, when she prepares pickles, have you observed those pickles? They are very salty and there are a lot of oil present in them. So you might be wondering that your teacher always tells you that don't eat more oil, don't eat more salt, right? But still your granny or your mother, she is putting so much of oil and so much of salt in the pickles. Why does she do this? Have you ever asked her? No. Then just go and ask her. Why does she do this? Yes, the answer is over here. That is, the salts and the edible oils, they are the common chemicals which are generally used to check the growth of microorganisms. Means when added more amount of salts and edible oils in such kind of food, then they will slow down the growth of the microorganisms, and that is why your particular food or any pickle, if you observe, then they will remain for long ages of times, right? So that is why those pickles, they are very useful. After even a year, after 2 years, after 3 years, the pickles remain the same. They never get spoiled because of the more amount of salt and edible oils added. So these are called as what? Preservatives. Okay, so we add salt or acid preservatives to pickles to prevent the attack of microbes. So the common preservatives are sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfite. Okay, these are some of the common preservatives which are added in the food to avoid this spoilage. So these are also used in the jams. You like jams, right? Eating jam, chapati, right? Yes, so these are also used in the jams to prevent the jams from spoiling, and squashes to check their spoilage, right students? Okay, now let us see how the preservation is done by common salt. Okay, so common salt has been used to preserve meat and fish for ages. So if you see meat and fishes, okay, more amount of salt is poured on that, okay, or sprinkled on that, so that they can remain for so many time or so much of ages. Okay, so they are covered with dry salt to check the growth of bacteria. So that is why salting is also one of the preservative which is used to preserve amla, raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. Okay, then preservation by oil and vinegar. So use of oil and vinegar also prevents the spoilage of pickles because bacteria cannot live in such an environment. So vegetables, fruits, fish, meat, they are often preserved by the method by using oil and vinegar. Then how the preservation is done by sugar. So if you see jams, you like jellies? Yes, you like eating jellies, right? So jellies, squashes, these all are also preserved by sugar because they are sweet in taste. You cannot add more salt here, right? So that is why they are preserved by sugar. And the sugar, it will reduce the moisture content. Now these microorganisms will grow more in the moisture climate, right? So that is why sugar will definitely reduce the moisture content, which inhibits the growth of bacteria, which will spoil the food. Then if you see heat and cold treatments, so you must have observed your mother boiling milk before it is stored or used, right? When you get your milk at home, immediately your mother will boil that milk, right? So that it can be stored and it can be used for 2 to 3 days, right? So boiling will definitely kill the microorganisms. And similarly, we keep our food in the refrigerator. Yes, so even low temperature inhibits the growth of microbes. So even boiling, that is, boiling means what? Higher temperature, and refrigerating means what? Lower temperature. So both heat and cold treatments are used to inhibit the growth of microbes. Okay, so let us study about few of the scientists who have done a lot of work and who have struggled a lot to get the different kinds of microorganisms, to get the uses and misuse, or to also know the disadvantages of these microorganisms. Okay, so one of the scientists is Alexander Fleming and penicillin. Okay, so in 1929, Alexander Fleming, he was working on a culture of disease causing bacteria. Then culture in the sense, he tried to prepare a mounting, like if you see the mounting of any leaf under the microscopic section, you will find stomata, you will find tiny pores, cell wall, cell sap, so many things you can observe, right? So he was working on a culture of disease which causes the bacteria. Suddenly he found the spores of a little green mold in one of his culture plates. I will show these culture plates in my next class to you people, okay, so that you can get the proper idea what exactly these are. Okay, so he observed that the presence of mold prevented the growth of bacteria. So when he found that the spores of little green mold, and when they found that these presence of mold will prevent the growth of bacteria, he even that those mold, they also killed many of these bacteria. Not only they inhibited the growth of bacteria, but also they killed many of these bacteria, and from this the mold penicillin was prepared. I have already showed you the diagram, right? Yes. Then Edward Jenner and smallpox vaccine. Edward Jenner, he discovered the vaccine for smallpox in 1798. So it is important to remember that antibiotics should be always taken only and on the advice of a qualified doctor. You yourself cannot take the antibiotics. Do you go to medical and ask for the antibiotics? No. You are always advised to have these antibiotics only and on the advice of a qualified doctor. So you must also finish the course prescribed by the doctor. For example, you are suffering from cough or fever, okay, then you are supposed to go to the doctor, and the doctor will prescribe some medicines, and he will also tell you to take these medicines for 3 days or 5 days, this course of time. But what do? Yes, today you have the tablet and the next day you feel better. So what do you think? No, now I am feeling better. What is need of taking tablets, right? But what happens? For example, if there are 5 viruses entered in your body, okay, so today you have taken the tablets and you are feeling well, and you will avoid taking the remaining course. Okay, so if there are 5 viruses, only 1 or 2 viruses will be killed, not all viruses will be killed. Okay, and after few days again you feel the same thing, you are again getting sick, you are again feeling unwell, because those left viruses which are not been killed, they again multiply in your body, and that is why you will suffer the same illness, and this you will definitely fall ill, right? So that is why you are suggested to finish the complete course. If you complete the course, then only all the viruses will be killed inside your body. So if you take antibiotics when not needed or in wrong doses, it may make the drug less effective when you might need it in future. Means if you complete the dose, it will act as an antibody in your antibody, means they kill the viruses even in the future. So also these antibiotics which are taken unnecessarily, they also may kill the beneficial bacteria in the body. Okay, So antibiotics, however, are not effective against cold and flu, as these are caused by the viruses. They are not much effective during those times. That is, when you suffer from cold or flu, these antibiotics will not act much effective. Then, why the children there or infants are given vaccination? So, if you remember, when you are very small, starting from your birth, you are just simply taking the vaccinations till you're 5 years, 6 years, you are just taking the vaccinations, right? So why are you supposed to take those vaccinations? So that in future these vaccination will help to fight with the other microorganisms or viruses or bacteria that may enter your body. Okay, so when a disease carrying microbe enters our body, the body produces antibodies to fight the invader, right? So the body also remembers how to fight the microbe if it enters again. So if dead or weakened microbes are introduced in a healthy body, the body fights and kills them by producing suitable antibodies. And these antibodies, they remain in the body and we are protected from the disease causing microbes. So this is how the vaccine works. Now several diseases including cholera, tuberculosis, smallpox and hepatitis, these can be prevented by taking vaccination. Okay, yes. So in your childhood you must have been given injections to protect yourself against several diseases. That is what I discussed before. So just prepare a list of these diseases. Okay, when you were small, you were given the injections to protect yourself against some of the diseases which had come during your childhood time. Okay, so you have to mention those diseases. You can take help of your parents. Okay, so it is essential to protect all children against these diseases. Now see, we are suffering a lot. We don't have vaccination for corona yet. No doctor has tried to get the vaccination for COVID-19, isn't it? So that is why we need to take more care. But if there is a vaccination, we are very freely roaming here and there. We are very free because we have already taken the vaccination to kill the organisms that enters our body, right? Or it may not even enter. If it enters, the vaccination will help to kill them. So necessary vaccines are available in the nearby hospitals, and you might have seen the advertisement on TV and newspaper regarding protection of children against polio under Pulse Polio program. Okay, so polio drops given to children are actually a vaccine. This polio drop vaccine will come from time to time. If you observe in your locality, nurse or some doctors, they suggest you to have the polio vaccination if there is a small kid at your home. Okay, so worldwide campaign against smallpox has finally led to its eradication from most parts of the world. Means the smallpox have completely eradicated. Okay, it's completely gone from some parts of the world. So these days vaccines are made on a large scale from microorganisms. So these vaccinations are prepared from the microorganisms to protect humans and other animals from several diseases. Yes students, so did you get the idea? Did you get the knowledge regarding why the children and infants are given vaccination? Why it is essential to have vaccination? Okay, but unnecessarily so many vaccinations are not necessary for the particular kid, because the kid should also boost his immunity by himself. This vaccination will slow down the immunity, I feel, and that is why I suggest this. Okay, so only the essential vaccination should be given to the children, which are most essential. So I feel that everybody should not inject unnecessarily vaccines to their kids. They should try to boost their immunity by themselves. Okay, thank you students for watching this, and I hope you will go through the video and complete your assignment. Okay, thank you.